Boo.
Hello, everybody.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, fun day.
Oh, yeah.
How is everyone out there doing? We have a full house tonight thanks to Johnny's Journey giving us a raid. All right, so just in case anybody notices, we have the girls with us tonight.
Yep.
He said, yep.
They're watching too.
They were very excited to be with us. They've enjoyed getting used to the place, and they insisted on sitting in on the show tonight. They said they needed to be on camera so that they could get their new names. So I put a picture up on IG, on Instagram, and they said they wanted to hang out so you could get to know them better and you could name them properly. So over on Instagram, there's a picture, and you can just go over there and name them, and they would really appreciate that. Right, girls? Okay. All right. Let's get over here and welcome everybody in. We had Nomadic Hippie in here first. Hello and welcome. And then we have, of course, Living Free Zip Code, Miss Nettie over here. I can't ever get the finger thing right. She's right there. All right. Thin Blue Lane, RV Life, hello and welcome. Johnny's Journey, again, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. Nomadic Rat Pack, hello and welcome. Then we have Linda Barker, hello, hello. Ford Man, aka Kenneth Oakes, thank you so much for always being so supportive. Ford Man, you are so supportive every week, and I appreciate it so much. Right. Oh, it scrolled really fast. Emily, hello, hello. I am praying for your family and everything you got going on. I just want to send out good vibes to you this week. Thrifty Angela, hello. James Catnese, hello. I think I got everybody. If I didn't, I apologize. All right, so this week's story. Oh, RV BFE, hello, hello. All right, this week's story is a current event that's going on that, funnily enough, Nettie and I have been following separately.
Yeah.
We came together this week and realized when Nettie sent the story over that we've both been following it. The girls are here. I got excited for a minute and thought you were sporting a bikini. Nah, just these guys.
Just our girls behind BBR.
Yeah. Well, they peek out every once in a while and say hello.
Mine's like this.
Nettie's over here is a little bit frightful. Mine, she's taking a nap. All right, so let's get into this story because he is currently still missing, and he is quite the young gentleman. As you get into the story, you'll kind of understand. I was intrigued by Angie Hay Family Adventures. Hello and welcome. I was intrigued by everything this young man has accomplished in his life so far, and that's what originally got me into this story. So let's jump in and get to know Mr. Dylan Rounds a little bit better. I'll let you go first, Nettie.
Okay. Missing. What happened to Dylan's Rounds?
Such a handsome young man.
Oh, yeah.
Soon after graduating from high school, Dylan Rounds set out to complete his plan. He wanted his own land to farm, and that's what he was doing along the Nevada-Utah border when he suddenly vanished. Remember, he's 19, right?
Right.
19.
And this began on Monday, Memorial Day, May 30th, when we figured out that nobody had seen my son for a couple of days, said his mother, Candace Cooley.
For the past year, Rounds lived in an RV camper on his property in Box Elder County along the Nevada-Utah border.
Dylan's been working on this farm in Utah, his own farm, on getting the grounds torn out and getting prepared for his crop, said Candace Cooley. This year was going to be his first crop. The farm was his whole life.
Most kids at 19 are not concentrating on getting their life started or a farm or anything of the sort. Nomadic Rat Pack said that is so strange. They have not found Dylan yet. That is a long time for aliens to take to be doing their probing. He should have been returned by now. I mean, that is in the area where the aliens are.
Yeah.
On Memorial Day weekend, his Idaho family traveled to the farm after failing to hear from him. The place was abandoned.
We've been searching. We've been looking everywhere, Candace Cooley said. Search and rescue came out that first weekend and we located his boots.
His mother said the boots were a short distance away from his RV camper, and it was the only pair he owned. Do you go into how special the boots were to him? Do you talk about that at all?
There's a little bit in there, not more about the terrain is what I have.
So what I learned about the boots were that he only wore this specific kind of boot and this specific style of boot. In fact, every time that he grew out of the boots, he gave his old pair to his mother. So his mother's fireplace was lined with this same boot, and every time he grew out of it and got a bigger pair, she got the old ones. So that was instead of like marking the wall with his growth, she marked the fireplace with his boots.
Oh, wow.
So for his boots to just be thrown out in the dirt like that was a telltale sign that something was very wrong.
Yeah.
Because he only owned that one pair of shoes, and those boots were so special, and it just would not be a thing. So that was their very like alarming, something's really, really wrong.
Yeah, it wasn't right. Something was wrong.
And I thought, that's really cute. That is so cute to have, like,
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine the fireplace being lined up with the same exact pair of boots from when he was younger until now? That's really cute. Also tragic.
Yeah.
Tommy Travels, the awesome, amazing Tommy Travels has entered the chat.
Welcome. At that point, it should have been treated as foul play, thought Candace Cooley. You just don't see someone's boots in the desert. That's missing.
Yeah. Especially with everything we just explained about the boots. It's just...
Yeah.
That would send alarm bells. My son would not walk away from that farm on his own, his mother, Candace Cooley, told Fox News Digital Wednesday. He was removed from it.
Can you imagine going there and it is abandoned, and then you find the boots, And like what you just said about the boots, she had to have been panicking.
Yeah, and I think the boots were found behind a dirt pile.
Yeah.
If yeah, like behind a dirt hill too. They weren't just
Hmm.
like out in the open. They were behind a dirt hill. So yeah, that would just, as a mom, even as a friend walking up to his property, that would just send chills throughout my body to find that. And knowing, even just knowing him
Yeah.
through what we've researched, that
Yeah.
would tell me things were totally off, because this kid seemed like one of the most respectable and most like on schedule, like this is what I do type kids, you know.
Right.
Let's read some of these comments real quick. um that's a long time. Oh, I know they, no Metakippy, I know they did it to me and returned me right away. I had such a good time, they won't come back and get me again. No boots needed in outer space. Johnny's Journey said, yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah.
This is strange not to be blue in a live stream. Oh, no matter Rat Pack, I will take care of that towards the end here for you. All of you moderators, keep an eye on that nomadic Rat Pack. I hear he's trouble. I wonder what crop he is growing. From everything that I've seen, and I think Nettie too, this area was really hard to farm.
Yeah, it's like
And
desert.
there's, what was that, Nettie?
It's like desert area.
Yeah. We're going to learn, I think, more about the area as we go on through the story, but it's really hard to farm. And it was kind of strange that he was moved out there to begin with. But he was making it work. All right, everybody's saying hi to each other.
She said she was not aware of her son having any enemies, although she believed he had recently fired a farm worker who she does not think harbored any ill will. The area is very rural, she said, and neighbors mostly live off the grid and keep to themselves.
Yeah, I think the area is kind of known to be filled with not so great people.
Yeah.
So you have a mixture of people that kind of want to live off the grid that aren't bad people, but you also have a mixture of people that are trying to not be found that
Yeah.
are not so great people.
They want to be off the grid.
Yeah. If it was cannabis, sometimes that attracts a criminal element. I think the area was kind of already was full of a criminal element, and it wasn't cannabis. He was it was a legit farm. He was growing true farm stuff. I think it's safe to say at this point, we know that his farm, the way that he was able to finance the farm was through his grandparents. His
Mm-hmm.
grandparents were pretty wealthy. They were high up in the LDS, and they owned a farm, and he grew up farming their farm. So he was very, very good at farming. And so he thought that he could, and they believed in him, run his own farm at 19. And so that was his dream, and that's all he ever wanted to do. And so they
Yeah.
financed him being able to start this farm. So it wasn't a cannabis farm, it was a legit farm that he was going to run crops out of. And the worker that was working with him knew the land and the soil and was helping him with that, but something went wrong between the two of them, and he had to fire him. This is the little guy, little Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
This is true, RV, BFE. The old wealthy grandparents' money also attracts a criminal element. Very true.
Yeah.
Hello, Hitch Up and Toe.
I cannot fathom who would want to do something to our son, she said. It just blows my mind. The Utah farm ground is rough and covered with thorny brush, Candace Cooley said. She does not believe that her son would have walked on it without his boots, or even in flip flops. It had also rained significantly that weekend.
She described Browns as fiercely independent and said he avoids drugs, video games, and social media.
And Dylan had a farm, Dylan had a goal, and he had a drive in life so that he would absolutely not let anything take him away, she said. This is a kid that the last 3 years has been out in the desolate desert tearing out new ground.
Yeah, I don't think you dedicate 3 years to tearing up desert land that people are telling you there's no way you're going to be able to grow crop on. I don't
Yeah,
think you spend 3 years preparing it, and this is going to be the year you grow the crop, and then you disappear. I just don't think that you throw it all away. He seemed like a very devoted kid.
he had goals and he knew what he wanted to do right out of school.
Yeah, I mean, in the first picture of him as a kid, he was feeding a pig. I don't know
Yeah.
if everybody noticed that, but he was feeding a pig out of a bottle. And this is him, what, probably 8 or 9 years old, driving a tractor.
Mhm.
I mean, farming was his whole life. Investigators said he called his grandma just before 7 a.m. on May 28th, and cell tower data placed his phone on his farm at the time. They found his truck on the property and his boots 100 yards away.
On the Box Elder County Sheriff's Facebook page, they consider it a missing person case. They've received tips and continue to search the Lucian, a nearby town, area. The sheriff's post said his pickup truck was found on his property and he is believed to be on foot.
Private investigator Jason Jensen is also looking into the case. He told News Nation during a live stream Wednesday night the truck is suspicious. Candace Cooley said, oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Candace Cooley said despite recent rains before his disappearance, it appeared not to have been moved, raising more suspicions. It's like it never moved in the rain or took it anywhere on Saturday like they originally thought, she said.
Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds, his parents. Hitch up and toe. Calm down, BB3.
The baby made you do it.
Wednesday, before he was last seen in nearby Lucin, he told his mother of a man walking barefoot along the road. He said, "Mom, you wouldn't believe this guy who jumped out of the desert. He was bloody, didn't have any shoes on, and he wanted a ride. I didn't give him a ride." I want to back up to the truck for just a minute. This is actually why I jumped ahead and started reading the truck, because my brain was thinking about something I had learned about the truck. So when he talked to his mother or grandmother, I don't remember who it was, the last person he spoke to. Do you remember
His
who the last?
grandmother.
his grandmother. He was going to go out and take care of something because it was about to rain. He was going to go out and take care of grain or something that he had to take care of so it didn't get wet. I don't know if that would have involved moving the truck. Maybe it would have. Maybe that's why his mom thinks it's weird the truck didn't move. I'm not sure. But what they did find later on, and I'm not sure, Nettie, if I'm ruining part of the story here, but what they did find later on is that his truck had been power washed, like cleaned, power washed. And his parents said there's no way he would have power washed his truck whatsoever. He would not have cleaned his truck, would not have cleaned it at all, because in the desert, if you clean your truck, it's going to get dirty again, and it's going to cause like a, I don't know how to explain this. Me, woman, brain not work this way, but apparently like the mud and it being clean would cause more rust or something in the long run. So when you live in the desert, you tend to not clean it. And then the dry dirt is better than if you were to clean it and then it get re-dirty. So they just apparently leave it dirty. It's better for the truck and the paint or something. And what they had noticed upon coming back to the truck is someone had power washed the whole thing and it was clean. And Dylan had not one day in his life cleaned his truck. And so that was something.
I also saw too, maybe that they cleaned the bed of the truck and he had a lot of oil residue in the bed of his truck and all that residue was gone.
Yeah. Which was really, really strange. You know, who cleaned his truck? Like, if nothing is there and the whole place is abandoned and he's gone, who's cleaning his truck?
Yeah.
Like, I'm using an excuse from now on. Nothing good ever happens when you meet a bloody dude not wearing shoes looking for a ride. Yeah, this gets even weirder though.
Yeah. And what I didn't include that I found after the fact is he apparently let him use his phone, but he did not he didn't take him for a ride wherever he wanted to go. So
yeah. And people were trying to make a big deal about that and saying like, well, why did he tell his mom he didn't let him use the phone, or that, like, because in here he says, I didn't give him a ride and I didn't let him use my phone. Like, originally that's what the mom was saying, was that he told her about it, but then he said he didn't let him use the phone and he didn't give him a ride. But then other people are saying Dylan said he did give him a ride and he did let him use the phone, or he let him use the phone, but he didn't give him a ride. It's like, well, if I gave some bloody guy a ride and I let him use my phone, I don't think I'd tell my parents either. Like, that would scare the hell out of my parents if they thought I was out there making bad decisions like that. I probably wouldn't tell my parents I did it either. But yeah, why is there a bloody guy out in the middle of the desert? And maybe you don't stop for that. I don't know.
No.
Cleaned his truck off to show off to a girl. The girl happened to be an alien he didn't know. Went back to the farm. Her parents weren't too happy and figured they should probe him. That's an idea, hippie. That's an idea.
She could have been carrying a bucket. We don't know.
True. She could have had a bucket.
Yeah.
I've always found it hard getting a lift being bloodied and having no shoes. True. Hey, Shanna Craft. Welcome, welcome. All right. There we go.
In Lucian, the family learned the identity of the man, but she said the man called her voluntarily and didn't know where Dylan Rounds could be. Jason Jensen sees room for suspicion in that very act. However, if somebody reaches out, it's because they're innocent or they're trying to throw off any trail that leads to them, Jason Jensen said during his New Nations live stream.
I think it's respectable that he reached out, because he could have just stayed hidden. He didn't have a reason. Like, if you're guilty of something, you don't have to let anybody know who you were. Nobody would have ever known who he was. So,
But I don't know how he reached out to her. How did he have her number?
oh, I'm sure it was easy to find her with the internet nowadays, like Facebook,
Okay.
whatever,
Yeah.
I would have given him a ride. Bloody people matter. That's how we travel. Nomadic hippie. Nomadic Rat Pack said to Nomadic Hippie, I found it hard to get a ride after I was probed also. Candace Cooley said the man claimed to have an alibi. She supplied the name to the sheriff and is unsure whether he's been cleared. Search and rescue units from both Box Elder County and nearby Nevada have continued to search the area, but there's still no sign of him.
He was so excited when I talked to him Thursday, Candace Cooley recalled. He said, my grain's growing and it's coming up. I'm just going to get a crop this year. He was just ecstatic, high on the world, and then just vanished, not a trace.
Candace Cooley said they found at least 3 persons of interest on their own. 2 were former employees of Rounds. She forwarded the names to the sheriff's office.
And Dylan Rounds is a white male, standing 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighing around 160 pounds. He had brown hair and brown eyes.
Deputies across state lines in Elko County, Nevada, said they became involved in the case after a report of a hostage situation in Montello on May 31st.
The incident turned out to be a false report, Candace Cooley said, but the Elko investigators determined that the missing teen did visit the area on May 26 when he was seen at a restaurant, but phone records show he called family members from Utah after that.
Case updates. James Brenner, named as suspect in disappearance of missing man Dylan Rounds. Blue-eyed female. Hello. She says, hi, new subscriber. If the bloodied man was in fact given a ride, you would think his blood would have been seen in the truck. If someone cleaned the interior, why didn't they smell cleaning solution? That is a very good point and a very good question. I do know that we were talking about this earlier. The outside of the truck was power washed, which would lead me to wonder if the inside was also power washed, because a lot of work trucks have like a all kind of plasticky type interior. So I wonder if the inside was power washed as well. Being in the desert, it might dry a lot quicker because of the heat. But that is a very, very good question. And I don't think the police have really done any type of DNA testing or swabbing or anything like that of the truck. Because I think the parents were told they could take the truck, and there might have been a broken window in the truck as well.
Yeah.
We also have another new subscriber that says, new sub here. How's everyone doing? The Bridge Burner. Hello and welcome. Thanks for stopping in and subscribing. We are here every Sunday covering new and different stuff. All right. Let's get to the updates here. Go, Nettie.
Utah authorities have named a suspect in the unsolved disappearance of 19-year-old farmer Dylan Rounds, who was last heard from on May 28th when he told his grandmother he needed to get his grain truck out of the rain.
I like Nomadic Rat Pack says, there are new people here. I'll behave now. No need to behave. We all just still be ourselves. um, I always say wash wrong, so nobody make fun of me out there. If wash the truck, there be something on the ground. Did they test the ground? No. That's kind of the thing that's shocking me too about this case is a
Yeah.
lot of stuff has not been tested. It's kind of crazy how many
And
things have gone unlooked at.
apparently, what I think me and Bibi found out is the truck was said the mother could take the truck, so the truck's been moved.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, a lot of stuff in this case has just been like, whoosh, like they were just like, yeah, take the truck. So the mother was
yeah.
allowed to just take the truck. Like you would think, like we just told you, the truck was power washed and there were things that didn't add up. I think there was even a broken window, but I could be wrong about that. Again, everyone, anything we say, make sure you go and do your own research on. But
Mm-hmm.
I think there was even a broken window somewhere in this story. And it's like, this stuff has not been fully
Yeah.
looked into.
Oh, and the blue-eyed female believes the authorities may have the truck now.
Oh, they might have it now. Well, now's a little late considering they gave it to the mother and it's been driven and, all these different things. But I'm glad they may have it now. I haven't been paying attention to many cases recently, except the Delphi case, if anyone's familiar. I am very familiar with that case. That's another very irritating case to me. I find that one very irritating. Justin, Dylan's dad, broke the back window. There we go. Okay, so there is a broken window. And Candace drove it back to Idaho. I could be wrong, but I think the authorities may have the truck now as a potential evidence. There we go. Thank you so much for the thumbs up and the share. I appreciate it. All right, let's jump back in.
Okay.
Did you read this one?
Yes.
Okay. James Brenner, 58, is being held at the Weber County Jail on federal firearm charges, according to authorities.
There's the hat.
Yeah. Pay attention to that hat, everybody.
Now, Candace Cooley, Round's mother, told Fox News Digital on Thursday that the newly named suspect is an acquaintance of her son. I'm keeping it together as best as I can, she said.
James Brenner is described in court documents as a neighbor and family friend of Dylan Rounds, who police say was squatting in a trailer on land where deputies found the missing teen's boots and grain truck. Now, I've heard he wasn't exactly squatting. So I said earlier in the story that when Dylan was on the phone with his grandma, he said, I got to go. It's raining. I got to go take care of
the grain.
I think it was grain. He was going to go take care of the grain because the rain was coming. He didn't want the grain to get wet. So he needed to put it into this building. Okay. And he was renting the building because the building sat on the neighbor's property. And so he was going to go he was going to go make sure move the thing into the building. I don't know. I'm not a farmer. But that building sat on the neighbor's property. And this James Brenner was renting a trailer or had his trailer parked right next to that building. And James was supposed to be kind of security for the property that he was renting or that he was staying on. He wasn't really renting, he was staying on it. And the person that owned that property knew James was staying there. So he wasn't really squatting. Police keep saying he was squatting, but the guy who owned the property knew he was staying there. Okay.
And apparently, too, Bibi, they said that he put up a gate. So if Dylan needed to get in there, he had to bother James to get this gate opened in order to get his seeds in
And I
this building.
don't think the family friend knew that that gate had been put up. I
Correct.
think that was where the problems had started to come into play, was that
Yeah.
this gate had been put up. The family friend didn't know about it. James had put it up. And so they think that maybe the gate had been put up and James wasn't there, and that this is a hypothesis, okay? This is a theory, that in this situation, the rain was coming and the gate had been put up, and that maybe Dylan needed to get over there and did something to the gate. Maybe James came back and a fight broke out. They think maybe that's something that happened at this point. No one 100% knows, but
Yeah.
James supposedly was not squatting. The family friend that owned that property knew he was there, but this is how that all kind of connects to James. He was staying right next to the building that Dylan was headed over to for his grain. Hope that all makes sense. All right. There we go.
His past criminal history includes malicious wounding, malicious shooting, and 3 prior convictions for being a felon in possession of a firearm, court's record shows.
A probable cause statement filed in James Brenner's most recent arrest says he was interviewed on June 7th of this year in connection with the disappearance of Dylan Rounds.
On June 11th, the Sheriff's Office requested the assistance of the FBI and Davis County Sheriff's Office in the investigation.
On June 16th, the Box Elder County Sheriff Office, BESCO, and the FBI executed a search warrant on James Brenner's trailer. During the search, firearm accessories related to muzzle loading were located in the trailer, but no guns were found, the probable cause statement says. Interesting that he would keep the accessories and then the guns are gone.
Right?
That's interesting.
On June 20th, 2022, a friend and a neighbor of James Brenner, identified in court documents as DH, was interviewed by the FBI and Box Elder County Sheriff's Office.
During that interview, DH advised that after DR, Dylan Rounds, went missing, and sometime after James Brenner's initial June 7th, 2022 interview with BECSO, James Brenner brought three black powder guns over to DH's residence and asked him to safekeep them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When DH asked why, James Brenner stated that he needed to do this for his own safety, and that the last time he had trouble with the law, they took everything from him, and he did not want the things he had left to be taken again.
DH agreed to store the muzzle loaders for him. At the time of the interview, DH turned over the 3 muzzle loaders to BECSO, who booked them into evidence. And just so everybody knows, I'm going to come over to the comments in just a minute.
On June 21st, DH was interviewed again by the FBI and said James Brenner had also brought him a 22 caliber rifle around the same time he had brought over the muzzle loaders.
DH told us that he didn't mention the 22 rifle. Oh boy. Forgot to hit a button. Sorry. DH told us that he didn't mention the 22 rifle when interviewed before because he had been owed money by the rifle's original owner and that he felt that he should have a claim over the 22 rifle that James Brenner asked him to store to cover the debt.
Little fishy.
This is sounding pretty fishy.
Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, another man believed to have had contact with Dylan Rounds around the time of Rounds' disappearance is also being held on charges of possessing firearms as a convicted felon.
Chase Vinstra, who also has a lengthy criminal history, was ordered to. I'm sorry, words are hard right now for some reason. Okay, Chase Vinstra, who also has a lengthy criminal history, was ordered to remain in custody at a hearing on July 1st and faces another hearing on July 19th. There we go.
Look at all those mugshots.
Wow. I would say he has quite the lengthy history. Okay, let me pause here for a second and catch up on some of these comments before I get too behind on comments. While we all try to figure out if this is the same person. I mean, it's the same person, but he looks quite different in some of these.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wonder if that bright light that comes down from the ship that beams people up leaves a radiation residue. I'll have to catch up on this case you all are talking about. Oh, I highly recommend looking into the case. It's definitely a case worth looking into. It's okay to say wash. You probably learned to say it at a beer bar. No, my kid makes fun of me all the time for it. Small town cops sometimes get caught up in big cases and aren't prepared. Or they just thought it was just a typical teen who just took off for a while. Yeah. Or I think sometimes they also think that it's not going to get the gravity, that they can just not worry about it, that it's not going to get the gravity of attention that these cases are getting. Like, I don't think they realize how big social media is now and that it's going to take off and get such big coverage. I wonder if they check the barn. Yeah. I would say they've probably checked the barn at this point now that they have James Brenner and he was right next to it. I would say they've checked that area at least at this point. I think you probably get into this, Nettie, but in further into the story, but they've now called off searches or are telling people to stop searching.
Yeah, they're telling people not to help. Stop searching.
Yeah, because originally everyone was like, the family had called for everyone to go out and start searching, and people were going out and searching, and the police now are saying, hold up, stop, even though there's a huge reward out there. So that kind of tells you that the police probably have figured something out. I don't know what, but on June 11th, we might be overlooking something. James Katniss, where were you on June 11th? Be in Florida in March. Oh, James Catney's going to Florida. Off topic, but just clicked on a channel in the chat on YouTube. Is the give option to go to their channel? Wow, they brought that back. That's awesome. Oh, they did. So you can click on a channel and it'll take you to their channel now? That's really cool. All right. And then we have blue-eyed female. I'm a travel agent and monitor VIP flights. Earlier today, I pulled up my app that monitors flights. Saw 8 planes and 2 helicopters circling south of where Dylan lived, and Aiden Clun went missing. Huh.
Oh, wow.
We'll have to look into the Aiden Clun thing. I have not heard of that one. We'll write that one down and we'll see what we can come up with and find about him. Because I've not heard of him. I would like to learn more about that. I'm ready today. Hippie's going to the Philippines. I think that's going to be an amazing trip for him. Wow, quite the record. Yeah, right? Look how many of those mug shots. Jeez. I'm telling you, he has the wrong guy. They need to be looking for somebody green with long dangly arms and black as coal eyes running around with 0 clothing. Not the guy that's been to jail a gazillion times, Hippie. Man, lots of bad people in that community.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that since this story broke, a lot of people that live in that community that are the good people have come out and been like, man, I'm telling you, our community is not that bad. But they also willingly admit that there are a lot of people that come there because they have a bad record and they are hiding out. So,
yeah.
You know, only if you are a moderator can you click on a channel and it will take you to their channel. Interesting. He's got more mug shots than I have yearbook pictures.
And I see Hitch Up and Toe was asking what is BECSO.
Okay.
And that is the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office. It's just abbreviated.
Okay. And this is more information about the Aiden Clun. Went missing at the end of April, 19 years old and from Sonoma, California. Went to visit his grandma in Salt Lake and went missing off Highway 93, I think, in the mountains. They suspect he is dead. Aw.
Wow.
Huh. All right. Let's get back into this case. I think it's yours.
Okay. Investigators said they found 2 guns in his motorhome on May 12th, 2 weeks before Dylan Brown's disappearance. While serving a warrant in a homicide investigation, the weapons were identified in court documents as a Westerfield Model 550C shotgun with no serial number and a .22 caliber rifle.
Hitch Up and Toe said 2 and 4 are definitely the same person on the mugshots. After listening to Chase Vinstra's jailhouse phone calls, detectives served another warrant on June 12th and alleged that he asked an associate to retrieve and hide some of his belongings. They allegedly found a semi-automatic Stroger 2000 shotgun, a Remington 700 rifle, and an attached scope and a Ruger 1022. Where are they getting the money to buy all these firearms? Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. They don't buy things. Never mind. Stupid question.
Yeah, there's no serial numbers on them.
Criminals don't buy things. Forget that question. Jeez.
The associate, identified in court documents as Witness A, also gave police a bulletproof vest and multiple AR 15 style magazines, according to the affidavit. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted. A further search of the home recovered yet another rifle, a Ruger M77 Hawkeye? Hawkeye, allegedly concealed in a crawl space. Authorities say Witness A told them that also it belonged to Chase Venstra. Jeez.
There's the hat.
There's that hat that we told you guys earlier to remember on James Brenner, that James Brenner was wearing earlier. You remember I said, remember that hat on the guy with the white beard that's being held in jail right now?
Dylan's wearing it.
Dylan's wearing that hat. Does that seem a little strange to you all? Just saying.
Family members of Dylan Rounds said he reported an unusual encounter in late May with a man believed to be Chase Venstra. Court documents released after Venstra's hearing last week make no mention of Dylan Rounds. Now I'm thinking this is telling me, let me know if you think the same way, BB, that this is the same guy that he ran into that was in the desert, no shoes, and bloody.
It might be, because I'm trying to think, because I know through other research I've done that they did end up investigating the guy, and he did end up arrested for his past record, but then the police ended up releasing him because they didn't feel like he did anything. That he was a criminal in his own right, but they didn't think he was involved in Dylan's case. So it may be, you may be right about that. That may be who this is. Yeah. So Blue-Eyed Female said, 22s are the type of guns that do produce a lot of blood when hit, but the bullet does all the damage when inside the body, bounces all around while inside. It doesn't make much sound when shot. Hippie said his weapons are not that impressive. The only impressive weapons out there have the name Daisy on the side. Daisies are correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't daisies like BB guns? Do not produce a lot of blood. Sorry. Okay, so they 22s don't produce a lot of blood, is what you're saying. Hippie, stop it! You'll shoot your eye out. Yeah. Okay, BB gun. The multiple hats does not seem strange to me. My uncles own large farms. The vendors always send them tons of hats, shirts, etc. to promote their company. Well, they're thinking that it is Dylan's hat, was what the mom, I think, was alluding to. The hat looks like Nettie's, but without the vajazzle. They then distribute the hats to their employees. Yeah, but he wasn't an employee. I find it very strange that there are two people who would like that hat enough to wear it. I own a lot of hats, just saying. Okay. I also wanted to say, well, let me keep going. I'll say it at the end. Here we go.
During the course of this investigation, multiple persons have been interviewed by the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and other assisting agencies. The BESO press release reads, Multiple arrests have been made for unrelated warrants and crimes that have been discovered during this process.
No charges have been filed specifically in the disappearance of Dylan Rounds. This investigation is not complete and remains active. The press release continues. Law enforcement investigators are continuing to work to locate Dylan and find answers.
In light of all the attention the search for Dylan Rounds has received, the BESO released a statement Wednesday asking members of the public to refrain from searching for the young man, and it has the potential to compromise the investigation.
The post on the BESO Facebook page also contains the following statement attributed to the Rounds family.
As a family, As a family, we are not asking for or requesting any additional public searches for Dylan Rounds at this time. We request that everyone allow law enforcement to continue their organized investigation without any hindrance or interference in order to avoid jeopardizing the investigation.
BESO is urging anyone who might have information relevant to the investigation to call the Box Elder County Sheriff Office at, and it lists the phone numbers, or send a private message to the office's Facebook page. His parents are offering a $100,000 reward for his return. So something else that I wanted to mention was there is kind of there's been mention that he might have been part of like a vigilante group that kind of handled some of the not so great people, I guess you would say, or the not so great goings on in the community that that they kind of patrolled the area. There wasn't enough hands-on cops to be able to handle some of the bad stuff. So him and some of the others would kind of deal with that, the riffraff, and kind of keep some of that under control. It's been said, I don't know that that's true. I mean, his parents weren't really down there to see whether that was true. His grandparents weren't there to see if that was true. So it's just been rumored. So when we see all these guys talking about the guns and things like that, and, the neighbor, and this is the neighbor's rap sheet, and, you got to think, was he friends with them or was he enemies with them? Was he out there handling them as, he was the good guy and they were the bad guys? And was he at war with them, or was he friends with them and they were out there policing the area together? Did something go wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's another aspect to the story that you have to take in. There's also another angle where they talk about one of these guys' brother has been known to hold hostages. And the police had gone out to kind of find out, because there was a rumor that he was being held hostage over something. I don't really know the whole details in that. And they checked into that, and he wasn't at that location, but I don't think they've 100% cleared that. Do you know more about that situation, Nettie?
I vaguely, because they were saying that they were like brothers that were doing that he might be held hostage with these so-called brothers. But I also heard that when he was out at the restaurants, in the little town, that he was talking about the money that he had, and that kind of leaked out. Did you remember hearing any of that as far as with him owning all those acreages and being out there on his own. I'm thinking that might
Yeah.
have attracted a lot of, these people in the area.
Yeah, being such a young kid and having that amount of property, and then, like Nettie said, being at a restaurant and just talking about it,
Yeah.
they're thinking that might have attracted, someone. But again, with the $100,000 reward, as someone over here mentioned in the comments, RVBFE said, for that much money, you'd think one of the lowlifes would just turn their buddy in for the crime. I would think so. But then
Yeah.
again, if somebody's doing it on purpose and trying to come up with a ransom or raise more money to collect more money, $100,000 might not be enough for them. You never know. So there's like a couple of different angles kind of going
Yeah.
on right now. A couple different ways it could go. I'm sure there's going to be more to come out in this case. And we always say we'll come back with updates, when we have more to let you guys know. We'll probably have to do a video that has kind of
Yeah.
several updates on different cases at this point, because we've done a lot of really good cases lately.
Mm-hmm.
That are going to need updates. So we'll definitely do that. But let me grab these comments because there's a lot of them that came in since we read them the last time. And then we're going to have to wrap up because we've been on for a while. But 22 was gun of choice for the mafia, the old double tap at the back of the head. Yeah, I've heard more and more of a 22 being the gun that's being used a lot into crimes lately.
Mm-hmm.
Do you all believe he's still alive? I'm not sure. I want to believe that he is, but this long gone, I'm struggling with that. Blue-eyed female does not. Nomadic hippie, nomadic rat pat. Yes, I'm here. I'm creating a profile to solve this case. Possibly e-livers or anal probing. That's another thing that's kind of being talked about by a private
Yeah.
investigator, is that he was maybe sent out to this location for being gay. But there's no real proof on that. Oh, and one more thing, and I hate to talk bad about family, but this is something I kind of need to throw out there because it's just something that's out there as well. Apparently, him and his mother, there's a troubled past with him and his mother. But the mother denies that and says that her and her son had a great relationship. I do know that he was raised by his grandparents, but the mom and dad were in his life, but he was raised by his grandparents. So there's also a lot of family kind of history there too. So this is a very complicated past and case. Rogue justice. I believe we're probably looking at that most of all. Whichever angle you go with this case, I think rogue justice is probably the best way to describe what happened. I'm with you on the abduction thing. He was cute, and I could see a female alien wanting to keep him. To be serious, I hope they catch the SOB. He was just a young kid trying to cut his way in America and live the American dream. I could not agree more.
True.
Do you know how many shithead kids we have in this world today that won't work, that aren't trying to do anything with their life, that are out there robbing places or just sitting on their butts, not wanting to do anything? And this kid was actually trying to bust his butt to live a productive life, and he's not here now. It makes me angry. No two ways about it. It makes me angry. This reminds me of Slab City. This town definitely reminds me of Slab City. Definitely. That's exactly what I was thinking of when we were reading about it. I'll stick with my Brokeback Mountain. I hear there's too much sand in the desert. $100,000, I would turn my grandmother in. Me too. His last words, why can't I quit you? The old, he has money hidden in a steel box somewhere, so let's get him and then figure out he didn't have a treasure. Off topic, but you two are gorgeous. Oh,
No,
thank you,
thank you.
Brenner. That's very sweet. Oh, I don't have our names up. This is Nettie. I cannot figure out the finger pointing. That's Nettie over there. And I'm BB3. All right. Hitch up and toe. That's a lot of money, but they can keep it in my world. I wish I had information to help them. It's just a sad story.
Yeah, it is.
If somebody turned somebody for $100,000, that would mean they had knowledge and could be charged while trying to collect the $100,000. That's true.
Yeah.
Hitch up and toe said, "You know my kids, BB3. Heck, you can have my kids for $100,000. I'll give you them. I'll come visit them.
Right.
But if they did something wrong, they need to come see you. They did something wrong. I'm turning them in." All right. Well, I'm really glad, Nettie, you picked this story. I've been following it closely, and I'm really glad we were able to talk about Dylan today. I think he is an amazing kid.
Yeah.
I call him a kid, but he's not a kid. I mean, any 19-year-old that was out there doing what he's doing, he's a man.
Right. And since we had new people that came in today, BB, I just want to let them know that we always love if you can leave a comment in the comment section or after the live stream, anything you want us to cover. Because we're more than happy to do the research, and we definitely do love any recommendations.
Yes, please drop either in the comment after the video is done or in the live right now any stories you'd like us to cover. And then I just typed in there if one of the mods can drop Nettie's link, and it's also in my description. Now our names are back. They weren't there a second ago.
Oh, okay. It's the doll. I'm telling you, it's the dolls.
The babies are like, we need names, and if we don't have names, then you don't get names.
You don't have names.
We don't have names. You don't have names. But yeah, if a mod can drop Nettie's link, that would be fantastic. And if you can't find Nettie's link, her link is always in the description of my video. And we're live every Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're so thankful for all of you coming and chatting with us. We absolutely love it. And yeah, it's a very diverse crowd in here. And we like to giggle, but we also like to cover the serious topics. I struggle with words. Forgive me. Thank you all so much for joining us on this fabulous Sunday evening. Really appreciate it. Wishing you all much kindness and much love.
And we're sending love your way. Night.
Bye, everyone.